What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today, I want to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, go over some of the current data points, as well talk on what on earth is management doing with all the recent 144 forums. Makes you question, I guess, what is happening behind the scenes. So I'm going to break all that down. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So SoFi did go down 1.27% on Friday. Tons of volume, so 52.72 million shares were traded. 44 is the average. These are some of the transactions that did occur on the secondary market, over $100,000. So you do see a ton of big transactions. A lot of that is associated to it being a quadruple witching day on Friday. So a lot of linked to options. But 3.84 million, 6.01 million, there was a very large one right down here, 42.3 million. And you can tell it was a buy based on the bid, the ask, and the selling price. So most likely a lot of that is associated to a lot of the call options that have been purchased over the last little bit. So I'm going to break that all down and go over everything that you need to know. Starting off with data points. The only thing to really watch for this upcoming week is on Thursday with GDP numbers. So on a quarter-over-quarter basis, the forecast is around 5.2. If it is above that, so very good data, then the market is just going to run massively. Vice versa will happen if it is below that. A lot of institutions and analysts are coming out saying that the market has ran up too much, too fast in a short time period. So I think that's causing a little bit more dampening on the broader market, which might affect Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But a lot of stocks such as SoFi will just follow the technicals, in my opinion. So when it comes down to companies unveiling their earnings, there's no real big heavy hitters. Of course, FedEx, Nike, but aside from that though, there is no real big disruptors that could cause a lot of volatility within the broader market. And this upcoming week, there is nothing specific to SoFi that could cause some volatility. So like I said, it is just merely going to be piggybacking off of the technicals as well as the GDP numbers coming out on Thursday. So let me know your thoughts on that. Oddly enough, so as of late, there has been no recent press releases. Last was on the 13th that I've already covered in a previous video, but there was a lot of Form 144s submitted on Friday, which is very weird. So this is the management, excluding Anthony Noto. So you do have Christopher Lapointe, Chad, and many others right here. It goes over all their titles, age, and whatever else. For whatever reason, Form 144s does mean that they have an intention on doing a transaction in the foreseeable future. So based on these transactions, it does show a lot of these individuals, such as Jeremy, is selling about 115,000 shares. And you can kind of see like every single one of these individuals did sell on the 15th for whatever reason. This isn't a Form 4, so it does not list the reason why, whether it be for tax purposes or whatever, again, reason that they do disclose. But even if we do go over here and just take a look at a lot of the insider transactions, you do see like it hasn't uploaded all these 144s yet. That way we'll be able to see what transaction type it was, whether it was a transaction code S, meaning a straight up sell, or if it was a transaction code F, meaning for tax purposes. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But even if you zoom out and just see, a lot of the insiders just sell for whatever reason. So a lot of the management, I don't know if they plan on swapping them out. I did allude to this in the past. A lot of people said, well, it might be just for tax purposes. It might them just be needing money for Christmas, holidays, or whatever else. But you have to realize that all of these individuals did it on the exact same day. And this is now the second time that they've done that. So I get maybe one instance, but now two instances, and potentially even more if we zoom out and maybe look on previous cases. So similar right here, like it does not make sense why they are doing this. So maybe something bigger is afoot. Maybe I'm just jumping to conclusions. Who knows? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. When it comes down to shorts did return about 139,000 shares on Friday. 15.54% of the free float is being shorted. 139.05 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is very low, so 0.95%. And through Interactive Broker, short availability does indicate that there is more than 10 million shares available to be shorted. So SoFi definitely does have a lot of shorts, despite the price action doing fairly well. So they have overextended themselves, in my opinion, with SoFi, especially based on this quarter. They're going to be showing a positive result, so profitability, and even technically, like, just the fact that it's at 15.54% of the free float, like, do they not know the results that SoFi's been getting from their earnings? It just does not make sense. Couple pieces of news that did come out, not recent ones, but it goes to show how shorts have been losing a ton of money in the US market by shorting. So this came out in June, saying that, I guess, up to year to date from January to June, they did lose about $120 billion betting against US stocks such as SoFi. And most recently, this news came out in November. Just over the last several days, I guess from this article, they lost $43 billion. I can only imagine how much they lost last week alone when SoFi went for their nice run up right here, as did a ton of stocks, obviously. So once again, let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Do you think that SoFi is a squeeze play, or do you think that maybe leading up to their next earnings, there is going to be a reduction? I would have anticipated that shorts were going to be returning and get the short interest back down to maybe 10 to 12%, but if anything, they've been increasing. So what's your thoughts on that? Options wise though, so $12 million in calls being purchased just on Friday alone versus 1.91 million in puts. So there's still a hell of a lot of optimism going into next week, and that will play into the technicals as well. So I'm going to touch on that. But the huge, immense amount of call options that have been purchased, that is why you did see a lot of volume on Friday after hours. That was just a lot of options being exercised. Like I mentioned, the quadruple witching day, that is a very big options day, because even if we zoom out looking at over, let's say, the last 45 days, $276 million in calls were being purchased versus a measly $123 million in puts. So from a long time, over the last 45 days, even potentially longer, people have been very optimistic on SoFi. Looking at some of the call options to note for this upcoming week, it is anticipated to be above $10. So that's kind of a good thing. Looking at puts though, it is anticipated to be sub $9. So both kind of make sense when it comes to the technicals, and the technicals are this. So with it closing at 935, it is between this R2 and this R3. So SoFi is doing phenomenal in comparison to a lot of other growth stocks. But some points to watch for this upcoming week: $8.67 is going to be that next strong support, and $9.46 is going to be that next strong resistance point, which is very, very close in general. So I think SoFi is starting off next week on the right foot. And if it can break above that, then 10.20 and 10.40 or I believe 1050 are going to be the next strong resistance points. And I've already brought this up over the last couple of points. So there has been no recent ratings. Last one was Piper Sandler, was done I think on Thursday. It's showing yesterday, but $8.50. Kevin, who does have a 61% success rating. But when it comes down to the technicals through the Elliott wave, it does show in the short term that it's going to be anywhere between the $9.74 range to $10.25. So that might be coming in the foreseeable future, similar to kind of what I'm saying right here as well. Looking at the momentum indicator, shows number of retail investors have been getting in. Friday was a little bit more, I guess they were taking profits in some cases. Stochastic, you do see a nice deviation, so black line above the red, showing a nice bullish sentiment, but it is at 87. So if it does fail to break above into this above this R3 successfully and stay there, then you are going to see a retracement potentially to this R2, so $8.67. So a lot could happen this upcoming week, but regardless, anticipate a lot of volatility. But no matter what, I do feel that this upcoming week is going to be positive for SoFi, and potentially having it stay around the $10 range or high nines. But unless, like I said, one caveat to that is if GDP numbers come out and they are absolutely horrible, the market is going to punish Like every growth stock can pull it down significantly. So that's something just to watch for. Let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Give yourself a shout out. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? Where do you see things going for this upcoming week? Do you think it's going to be in the 10s? Or do you think it's more so similar to what the puts are saying, sub $9? What's your take? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And one final thing, if you do like my channel, want to support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below and also the comments. But with all that said, I appreciate all you watching.